What was the worst advice you have ever received? My dad said to quit studying that stuff. If you want to be a network engineer or whatever, go to the company. Find the boss and ask to work as a janitor. Then you can work your way up. Thankfully I did not listen. Sounds like he gets his work ethic from movies. Don't study computer programming. The market is probably going to be saturated by the time you graduate. From a computer science professor in the mid-80s. Oof, 30 years of programming experience right now will get you a very pretty penny. I think there is a world market for maybe 5 computers. Thomas Watson, president of IBM, 1943. My husband needed a medical card after his heart failure from viral cardiomyopathy. The social worker told me I should get pregnant so we would qualify for help with his medical costs. I was 24 and lived in Ohio. I was horrified. She listed all the help we could get if I could get pregnant. He was in an ICU ward recovering from heart surgery. I walked out of there just disgusted. From a light Google search. Won't asking her husband with cardiomyopathy to impregnate you send him to the hospital faster? Potentially killing him if the condition is bad enough? Or is the worker telling you to cheat on her husband? Lol XD. Either way I would feel disgusted too. This is just outright disgusting and reminds me of trash TV people here claiming that they wouldn't need a job if they'd just rely on social support and drop off a baby every year. As if children were like unwanting stores of value you can put into your wallet. Turn the other cheek. You'll have the moral high ground. My father when I told him about how I was being badly bullied. Thanks Dad. For making my school days an even bigger ordeal than they already were. Invest in brother-in-law's bar. Thanks Dad. Bye bye 30k and bye bye bar. Did not know I'd be working alongside an illiterate buffoon. Investing in any bar or restaurant is generally terrible advice lol. Never go into business with extended family. Hell, one would do well not to go into business with immediate family either. For every Warner Bros. There's 1,000 failed family businesses. At 24, while making $12 an hour and renting an apartment, my parents convinced me to buy a brand new Honda Accord. They assured me it was the only way to get a new car and that used ones broke down immediately. The payments were one entire paycheck of the 2 I got every month. That car's probably still running, though. In my early 20s, my stepdad encouraged us equals me, sister and brother to max out our credit cards. Then file bankruptcy. My sister did it. My brother did it. I didn't. He insulted me for years. For being stupid. A few years ago, my mom asked me if I could help with her $100. 000 debt. She told me she needed $60. 000. I literally had less than $1,000 in my bank account. When I asked her where she thought I was going to be able to get that money, she told me to use my credit line. Mind you, I was going to school full time and working a barista job at the time. My highest credit limit at the time was like $500 to $1. $500. She told me to sign up for multiple cards to get to $60. 000. When I refused, she was telling everyone that I wouldn't help her with money. Oh, did I mention that she actually applied to credit cards using my name? Question mark. The physical cards were sent to our house and I found them. When I brought it up, her defense was that she hadn't used them because I wouldn't help her. Second, when I asked her how she was going to pay it back, she told me that she's cycling through credit cards. What? Family over friends. Because friends won't always be there for you. Family will. Fat load of crap that was. Family can be some of the most toxic people you've met in your life. From my father, don't go to the doctor's office if you only have one problem. Wait until you have 4 or 5, that's how you get the most bang for your buck. This is horrible advice. But as someone who went a very long time without medical insurance, I kind of get it. Me, I'm depressed and struggling with low sex drive. Therapist, haha, I have the opposite problem. But have you tried watching a rom-com? They always gets me in the mood. This is a direct quote. Edit. Thankful for all the replies. Haha, I am much better now and I found a different therapist. Turns out being bisexual and growing up Mormon made me really repressed sexually. The therapist was Mormon, so that didn't help. She was licensed and told me she had special training specifically in sex therapy. I've found an ex-Mormon therapist who thankfully undid the damage. Invest in DVDs because you can pawn them for cash when you need money. You commonly hear stuff like this from people who grew up in times of hyperinflation where saving cash doesn't work when trying to accumulate wealth. How actually what? Well, now you have a sick-ass DVD collection, bro. And unlike VHS, they can still be played and have decent video quality. Just find a girl you don't like. Once you get married you'll just hate her anyways. God, I hope he was joking. Everyone I know who's been married more than 10 years has moments when you can't stand your spouse. Especially if you have kids. Because let's face it, it's hard to live with other people for a long period of time. And kids will raise the stakes on everything and drag out every bit of how you were raised that your spouse wasn't. But you're in it for all times when it's not like that. Which should be most of the time. Was told by a sailor of 5 decades that the best way to get rid of a sunburn is to take the hottest shower possible. Not only did that cause immeasurable pain, but didn't help in the slightest. It's a cool, not cold shower. He had to have been trolling you. There is a rare condition some people have where they get something called hell's itch while recovering from sunburn. Incredibly intense painful itching sensation wherever the sunburn is. One of the only found cures for it is a really hot shower to, I guess, reset the nerves or something. Not me, but I remember reading a thread about a man who told his girlfriend every day that she stinks. She washed 2 or 3 times daily. Tried everything she could to get rid of this smell. Until she cracked and started screaming at him asking WTF was he smelling. Apparently his father told him tell a woman she smells every day and she'll be constantly clean. He just took that as normal good advice to live by. What ha 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 ha. Apparently his father told him that his was a surefire technique to have a woman never leave you because she will feel too low to cheat. Will love only you. And will always be clean. I'm so glad Op immediately dumped him. That is super abusive and there are probably other ways he was taught to abuse and manipulate others. In the comments Op explained that she almost gave him a chance until she realized he is 30 and has had plenty of time and examples to learn better. Hey son, you know what's a fucking great thing to do with somebody you love and care about? Gaslight them. If you go work somewhere else no one will pay you as much as me. My dad. I'm currently making twice as much plus benefits. Edit. Wording I make twice as much plus benefits originally had not including benefits. Working with for family can be a nightmare. I recently quit working for my dad and I'm already less anxious. Not the same situation, but after 10 years working at my father's company. Coming up from a laborer to a service tech I was making 18 an hour instead of the 10 I had started at. Finally said I needed a raise and got 20. Quit, moved. And I'm making more at an easier job. With paid time off and other benefits I didn't have before. The real kicker is I found out my brother is now making 20 an hour for much less skilled work after much less time with company. Never change. When people say this, what they mean is never lose the passion and let the system get to you. But yes, change is inevitable. Worldviews will change based on age and experience. You won't be the same person 30 years from now that you were originally. And if you are, then that's a problem. It's too late for you to learn to code. I was 14. Ain't no dumbus 8 years old's gonna understand coding. Who gave that advice? If you actually cared about being organized you wouldn't have ADHD. As someone who has ADHD, that makes me furious. Who the hell thinks that way? Although in all fairness, I realized I needed glasses at age 8 when I couldn't see the board. And my teacher accused me of lying. So probably a bunch of people. Depressed? Just be happy. Homeless? Buy a house. Broke your ankle? Just walk it off. Hotel? Trivago. As a temporary measure, it's okay to insert a copper penny into a screw-in fuse box circuit until replacement fuses can be obtained. That dangerous advice almost caused a house fire due to an overheating circuit. You should use a 22 bullet. That way you can hear when it pops. Nothing is more permanent than a temporary solution. Edit. Since this is being seen by quite a few people. Want to clarify this isn't my quote. Not sure who it's attributed to if anyone, but I first heard it and attributed to my father, who has worked in various chemical industries and supply chain his entire career. Love you, Pops. If you run out of dishwasher detergent, just substitute it with regular dish soap. A big mistake that will only be made once. It's almost good advice if you also need to mop your floor, but would rather shovel bubbles instead of actually mopping. If someone gave you this advice, they were definitely screwing with you. All you have to do is prove to the woman that you are better than the man she is with, and she will come running. From a former manager who had 7 girlfriends and a wife who stabbed him when she learned about the girlfriends. All that I can think is 8 relationships? Exclamation point. That sounds so exhausting. To keep my mouth shut. Never argue or talk back to my partner. Just tell them that millennials divorce less than boomers. Put some butter on it. My father to me directly after getting a 3rd-degree burn on my arm cooking accident. You put some butter on it, a little garlic and then mozzarella, and you got a decent side. Literally the first thing I ever learned about treating burn was to never apply butter or similar fat to a burn wound, as it will amplify the cooking effect. Source: an old British Army publication a friend gave me. To be fair, that is what you do to things that have been cooked. He may have mistaken your arm for a baked potato. Ignore the bullies. They just want a reaction. If you ignore them, they'll get bored and leave you alone. This is my answer every time this question pops up. It is such unmitigated bullshit. The adults who gave me this advice when I was a kid in the 70s must have had softer bullies than I did. Because yeah, my bullies wanted a reaction. And they'd keep going until they got one. Note, they considered tears of pain and blood a reaction. As they beat the crap out of me. Yeah, that shit might work if someone is teasing you. Not when you're being bullied. Follow your heart. Sometimes my heart is stupid and I should listen to my brain instead. My heart is telling me to eat 7 cakes, play video games instead of go to school, and sleep 16 hours a day. Follow your brain. Don't take it engineering cause it's saturated. My parents said the same thing. They had memories of the dot-com bust when everyone they knew in tech lost their jobs. Just ignore your bully. Okay, I did as you advised and they stabbed my hand with a pencil to get my attention. Thanks for watching. Subscribe for more Reddit videos.